And today we're going to be exploring the process of how to overcome that difficult person in our life. Okay. In the previous video, we explored this perspective that the Buddha taught, that we can really reduce our pain that we feel from this difficult person if we begin to view them as a teacher who's here to help us grow and evolve, as opposed to viewing them as a problem that we don't want. So if you haven't watched that already, feel free to check that out first. So today we are getting into the process of, okay, how can I begin to overcome this person step by step? And overcoming them here does not mean getting rid of them. Getting rid of them would not solve the problem, right? Overcoming means to overcome our own negative emotions that we hold, like anger, like resentment, even fear toward this person. Because ultimately, if we can free ourselves from anger, from resentment, from fear, then we're free, essentially. That person can continue to exist, but as long as they can no longer trigger us, as long as we're no longer affected, so much and feel those heavy emotions, then we have essentially become free and overcome them. So this video is about becoming free, essentially. And I'm going to share with you a step-by-step process, something that I've used in my own life that's helped me a lot. It's based on the teachings of the Buddha, and it's a 4-part process, okay? So I'm sharing this with you because it's helped me a lot, and I really believe that it can help you if you have a difficult person in your life. But remember that it's a process, right? So it's gonna take some time. If it's taken you a few months or years to feel how you feel about this person, then naturally it'll take some time to reverse that process. So it's really important to keep in mind here that we need to be kind to ourselves, right? Be kind to yourself, be accepting of yourself, and give yourself the time you need. You can come back to this video whenever you want for reference. You can work on this, in your own time and your own pace. If you want help, then this is something that we can discuss in one-to-one sessions together. But ultimately, the point is transforming our negative emotions can't be rushed. It needs to happen gradually in the step-by-step way, okay? So let's get into the process of how to do this. So step 1 is to have compassion for yourself, okay? If someone's hurt you and you're feeling feelings of anger, of resentment, then you need to know that it doesn't make you a bad person for feeling these feelings. It doesn't make you a bad person because, we're so tough on ourselves. We feel like because we want to be kind and compassionate and patient, we feel like, why do I feel these feelings of anger and resentment? Am I not as loving? Am I not as kind as other people? So it's really important to have compassion for yourself. The Buddha taught that all of us, right, all humans, all beings, we have the same basic wish. We want to be happy and we don't want to suffer, right? We want to be happy and we don't want to suffer. So even when you're feeling feelings of anger or resentment towards someone else, if you look deeper, you'll notice that actually it's because you wanted to feel happy and peaceful, but that's somehow been taken away from you, and that's why you're feeling angry. So even those negative emotions are coming from your basic nature. You're just expressing your basic wish to be happy and peaceful. So it doesn't make you a bad person, okay? So the first step, if you need this, is to be totally accepting of yourself and how you feel so that you can begin to work on freeing yourself from these emotions. So step 2 is trying to understand the other person, okay? This is really where the process begins. I know this may be hard, right? But it's just opening to the idea that trying to see things from their perspective. Why may they be acting in the ways that they're acting? Ultimately, just like we want to be happy and not suffer, they also want to be happy and not suffer. So whatever they've done or said, essentially, is coming from that place, right? They believe that their actions will make them happy. They may be misguided. Most of us are, yeah? But it's trying to essentially look past that misguidedness and trying to understand why may they be acting how they're acting, essentially, what's causing them to do this. One of the things that the Buddha taught is that nothing happens without a reason. there's always previous causes and conditions for everything. So if they're acting in harmful ways, then there's probably going to be a reason why they're doing it, right? So it's just trying to see them, not as a difficult person, but just as a human being, okay? A simple, basic human being who wants to be happy, who doesn't want to suffer, yet they're acting in ways that are not really helping them, not really serving them. So why are they doing this? Just trying to see, okay? Just trying to understand that a little bit. So in my own life, when I asked this question, really asked it, right? Really tried to understand my difficult person, I saw that actually they carry a lot of baggage from their past. They have been hurt a lot. They'd been betrayed. They were not really accepted for who they were. So they already carried a lot of negative energy in them, a lot of anger that was always ready to erupt. And I began to realize that many times when they said or did things that hurt me, actually, they may not even be that personal. They probably had nothing to do with me, but they just had so many negative emotions that needed a release, essentially. So it's trying to take ourselves out of the equation and look at things from a neutral perspective. Just try to understand why they may be acting, how they're acting, right? That's step 2. And that is a really important step because that opens up the gateway for you to see things differently, for you to change your perspective and ultimately change your emotions towards this person, okay? So the third step is forgiveness and letting go, okay? It is essentially once we see things from their perspective, it's realizing that, okay, so this person is also suffering. They're a victim of their own monkey mind. They're a victim of the things that they're going through. And because they're not coming from a place that is peaceful and calm, their actions are not peaceful and calm. So it's just seeing them as a human being who is, going through stuff and having a little compassion for them and just opening to the idea of forgiving them. Forgiveness, by the way, does not mean accepting harmful behavior, okay? It simply means that you free yourself from the burden of holding resentment and anger toward this person. Because when we forgive someone, it's very much about you feeling lighter than it is about them. So it's recognizing that holding on to negative feelings will only make us suffer more, right? Through forgiveness, you free yourself from the cycle of reacting negatively. And this alone, it soothes the situation. It brings peace to it. So to clarify, forgiveness here does not mean accepting harmful behavior, right? It simply means that you are freeing yourself from the burden of carrying these heavy negative emotions. But you still need to be practical, right? So if you need to set boundaries, if you need to set limits to protect your own emotional well-being or physical well-being, then that's something that you should definitely do. So forgiveness is releasing the burden of negative emotions that you carry, right? Releasing that weight, but it doesn't mean that you accept harmful behavior from them. Now, of course, forgiveness may be difficult, right? You may not be ready. You may not feel ready to essentially forgive this person. And that's what brings us to step 4, which is practicing the loving kindness meditation. Okay, so if you are essentially feeling a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, you're not able to see things from a neutral perspective, you're not able or willing to forgive this person yet, that is totally okay. That is totally okay. Remember, this is a process, right? And this is where the loving kindness practice taught by the Buddha is extremely helpful. This is what helped me, go from feeling resentment and anger to having more positive feelings toward my difficult person and ultimately being able to forgive them, right? So it's a simple practice that helps us to soften our feelings toward others and see that just like us, they have the same wish to be happy and not to suffer. And that everything they do, right, even the mistakes that they make are coming from this place of wanting to be happy and not to suffer. They may be misguided, right? But ultimately it's coming from that same place. So it's seeing this shared sense of humanness. So it really helps to soften our feelings toward others. So in a nutshell, the loving kindness meditation practice is basically a bridge that can take us from resentment and anger all the way to feeling loving kindness and forgiveness for this difficult person in our life. So I will record a guided meditation for free that you can download. Just head over to meditatewithrishi.com and put in your email details so that you get access to the free meditations there, okay? But for now, let me give you a brief idea of this practice because, it's something that has helped me tremendously, and I'm really excited to share it with you in this guided meditation in my own way. It's like a song of the heart, essentially. So what you do is you start there's 4 parts of the meditation. The first part is that we begin to recognize our own wish to be happy and not to suffer, right? We see how in life, ultimately what we want is we want things to be easy, right? We want, good health. We want money to be easy. We want our relationships to not be that, much of a strain. We want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. We want an easy life, ultimately, an easy, comfortable life that's joyful, right? That's what we want. And we see how everything that we do, from waking up in the morning and, brushing our teeth and having a shower so we feel clean, to the way that we dress up because we want to look a certain way, to everything, all of our actions, even blinking our eyes, is because we think it's going to make us more happier, comfortable, joyful, right? Everything we do is for this reason. And by understanding that this is our basic wish to be happy, we wish that upon ourselves. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease, essentially. Okay. And once we've send this goodwill to ourselves, the next step in the process, step 2, is we try to extend this to someone who is very easy to love, right? This is us building momentum. It could be a puppy that you think of, something that immediately, very effortlessly brings up feelings of love in you. For a lot of people, it's a puppy, it's their mom, it's their grandma. Think about who that might be for you, right? And we begin to bring this person in our mind's eye and wish the same for them. See how they too just want to be happy and they don't want to suffer. And we essentially send loving kindness to them. We wish that, may you be happy. May you be healthy and safe, and may you live with ease, right? And if we choose the right object, the right person for this, it becomes very easy to feel these feelings. For a lot of people, it's a puppy. Just thinking of a puppy brings so many good, positive emotions, right? So this is us building momentum now. So we do it on ourselves first, and then this object of love, someone that's really easy to love, a loved one. Step 3 then is we try to extend this. We've built this positive momentum. We try to extend it to a neutral person in our life, someone we don't particularly love or hate. For example, a shopkeeper that we see from time to time, okay? And we bring this person in our mind's eye, and we try to see that this person also, just like me, just like my puppy or my mom or my grandma, they also just want to be happy and they don't want to suffer, and they want to live with ease. So we wish this for them. We send out these positive feelings, right? And when we send these out, what happens is that it softens our own heart. It opens our own heart to others. Essentially, we begin to feel the sense of shared humanity, shared life, essentially, that all of us ultimately, beyond all our problems and all these things, we just want to be happy and not suffer, right? So it's opening up, it's softening up, it's opening our heart. And once we've really built this momentum, the 4th step in the process is to now bring in mind the difficult person in your life, okay? And because just bringing them up without building this momentum is difficult. You immediately feelings of hatred are going to come up, right? So we build this momentum first so that we can use it to try and send good wishes to this difficult person, to see that they too just want to be happy, they don't want to suffer. And even though they may have hurt us, ultimately they're just a being who's trying to make their way in this world like us. They're on their own journey, and we try to see if we can open up and send them good wishes as well. Okay, so the first time you do this may be really difficult. Second time may be really difficult, but with time, I can tell you from experience, your heart will soften. It will soften. For me, what happened, right? This is the perfect example, is that the person I had in my difficult category, when I got to step 4, actually they were no longer that person that I wanted to put in that category. Meaning, they were no longer someone I hated. They were no longer someone that made me angry. Just in my mind, I was like, why am I putting this person in the difficult category? Because I don't feel like that toward them, right? And that is powerful. That changes things, because then you are kind of ready to, in the real world, in life, to try to re-engage, conversation with them and do it in a calmer way, in a kinder way, and see how that goes. Okay, so all right, this was a brief of the practice of the loving kindness practice, and just to summarize the entire process that we spoke about, it was 4 parts, right, of overcoming the difficult person in our life. Step 1 is having compassion for ourselves. It's okay if you feel negative feelings. It does not make you a bad person, okay? Step 2 is beginning to try to understand the other person, trying to see why they do what they do, okay? Step 3 was trying to forgive them, because just like us, they are, human beings who want to be happy and not to suffer. And step 4 is what solidifies all of this, is engaging in the practice of loving kindness, so that naturally, without much effort, our heart begins to open and our feelings toward others begin to soften, and especially for this difficult person, right? So this is something, we've covered the theory over here. It's something that I've been doing for, at least the last couple of years for a few people in my life. And from my experience, I can tell you it's helped me a lot. A lot is an understatement, which is why I'm making this video, because feeling free, not having those negative emotions toward these people is huge. And I'm not saying that you will not have these negative emotions in the future. Of course you will. But what I mean is that the depth, of the resentment, that weight that we carry on a day-to-day basis, you will at least become free from that. And that is huge, because the next time this person, comes back into your life and tries to interact with you, you're not going to be biased by that weight that you carry. You will be able to deal with that situation as a, separate one-off situation, and not have this negative bias, right? So if you're not feeling these negative emotions the moment someone comes in front of you, then you're much more likely to have a positive, peaceful interaction with them, right? You can be more mindful, you can be more compassionate, essentially. So this is how it helps. It takes that weight that we carry off, and that's the beauty of it, okay? So I really hope this helps. This video will be there on the channel, so please feel free to come back to it whenever you want. And ultimately, if you feel like this is something that you want help with, then remember, I do offer one-to-one sessions where we can discuss this, where we can learn meditation together, step by step, and actually discuss some of the tricky areas that you may want to discuss with me personally. Okay, and if you're new to this channel, then I just want to let you know that I do offer one-to-one sessions where you can learn meditation step by step and also discuss tricky areas like this with me. Initially, I started off teaching a program called Freedom Within, which is a nice step-by-step way to learn meditation. But what I found is that many of my clients, beyond learning meditation, they really wanted a space to be able to share some of their tricky life areas, either just to talk things out and be heard, or in some cases, find fresh, mindful perspectives on dealing with those situations. So all of that is definitely an option, okay? You can head over to the website, meditatewithrishi.com, and book an initial friendly chat with me and see where we go from there. But besides that, once again, I really hope that this is helpful. The video will be up on the channel, so feel free to come back to it whenever you want, and I really hope it helps. Thank you very much. Namaste.